We're a home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Hello and welcome to News Today with me, Emefa Akosia Adati. In our headlines today, Ghana Armed Forces ban entry of all non-applicants into its recruitment screening centers as it resumes screening with enhanced security measures.
And so looking at all the venues we have mentioned, all these centers to ensure that non-applicants are not allowed in to increase the numbers at the centers.
Details as well as the government imposing a daily cap of 1,000 applicants at security recruitment centers after the deadly LWAC Stadium incident.
We will ensure that no center will operate more than 1,000 or will screen more than 1,000 individuals a day. And even these 1,000, no center should do more than 500 in the morning section and 500 in the afternoon section.
In the news today as well, more than 100 workers laid off as rectification of Ghana's first lithium mining project delays for 2 years. Details as chiefs vow not to forgive Parliament if it fails to pass the deal before 2025 ends.
So
we have more in the second episode of our series, Hope on Pulse, the Lithium Promise, and later we'll take you to Anyaa Atlas Hills, where residents and commuters threaten to embark on a series of protests if their deplorable roads are not fixed within 3 weeks.
Well, our area has been totally neglected. You see the place active only when it's time for elections.
This is more than a galamsey pit.
Of course, for these and more, stay with us. We appreciate your company this afternoon. First, in the news, the Ghana Armed Forces has announced a ban on the entry of all non-applicants into its recruitment screening centers as it resumes the suspended 2025-2026 screening exercise for the Greater Accra region. The suspension was lifted following a statement signed by the Acting Director General of the Public Relations, Captain Veronica Adjo-Ahen. The statement indicated that the screening will be conducted across 8 sub-centers in 5 locations as part of measures to ensure a safe and orderly process. Speaking on News Desk, Captain Veronica Adjo-Ahen emphasized that no person will be allowed entry into any of the centers unless they are an applicant, stressing that the directive is intended to prevent overcrowding and maintain safety.
And even before the BOI that has been set comes up, we have put in place measures to address this incident. I must say that the government sent a delegation from the Ministry of Gender, the Minister for Gender, the Deputy Minister for Defense, of which I was a part of the entourage, have visited all 6 families of the bereaved, and government has assured them of support. The BOI, the Board of Inquiry, is yet to come out with its findings.
Okay.
It will therefore be preemptive to try to identify any lapses for now. And so we'd rather wait for the Board of Inquiry to come out with their findings. So per the release, we are going to invite the applicants, giving specifics and specific venues, and they will be invited in the numbers of not more than 600, in fact, 600. And so looking at all the venues we have mentioned, all these centers to ensure that non-applicants are not allowed in to increase the numbers at the centers. So that is what we have done so far.
In addition to these measures, the government has imposed a daily cap of 1,000 applicants at security recruitment centers nationwide following the tragic stampede at LWAC Sports Stadium that claimed 6 lives. Now, the new plan outlined by the Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak on the Super Morning Show aims to strictly limit the number of applicants screened at each center, taking into account the facility's capacity to ensure safety.
Security agency will do its screening at one place. So every regional capital will have to have a center. And if then, depending on the numbers that will apply per region, we could have between 2 up to 15 centers for cities. The police said in the past they've done up to 6, 7, even 8 centers before. And I'm saying that for many more places, so we can do up to 10. And I'm willing to write to my colleagues. So, for example, a taskforce stadium, we can write for Elwa, the Legon Police Station, the Legon Sports Stadium, and all. Let's look for every space possible so that we have at least 15 centers. So, if I use as a typical place, we are likely to have a very large numbers. We will ensure that no center will operate more than 1,000 or will screen more than 1,000 individuals a day. And even these 1,000, no center should do more than 500 in the morning section and 500 in the afternoon section.
Meanwhile, Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak has instructed the Controller General of the Ghana Immigration Service to investigate allegations that some West African deportees from the U.S. were mistreated following an incident in which a female deportee reportedly refused to be escorted home by immigration officials. He emphasized that the government does not condone any form of mistreatment and not in bed with the U.S. to harm anyone.
This was when we saw that I've instructed the Comptroller General of Immigration to investigate that and get me a report on it, which I'm sure I should get this week. But the criminal thing that we had was that this lady was supposed to be on medication, and I think she didn't take her medication, so along the line she became violent, and that resulted in that. But I wouldn't want to preempt the report that they will bring it to me. I can assure you that we believe that we are brothers and sisters. Our brothers and sisters from the West African countries will be treated with utmost respect. We will do everything humanly possible to treat them well, just as we treat our own citizens. There's no any connivance or government involvement that they brought in from the United States of America. We will continue to give them the best of services that we can and be able to encourage them to have their options. If you want to stay, then let the embassy pick you up. If you want to go back to your country, we'll facilitate your movement.
Away from that, we won't forgive them. That's the stern warning from chiefs in the host communities of Ghana's first lithium mine in the central region to Parliament. More than 100 workers have been sent home following a 2-year delay in rectifying the mining lease. Last week, a revised agreement was finally laid before Parliament after the previous House failed to pass it. Among those affected is Justice Agri, whose daughter's education has been on hold for 2 years because he cannot afford her college fees. Emmanuel Jivenu has more in the second episode of our series, Hope on Pause, the Lithium Promise.
Hello, Mami.
Justice Agri is one of more than 100 workers laid off, casualties of Parliament's delay in rectifying the Ewoya lithium project. He is a father of 8, and the collapse of this job is the collapse of his entire household. Before he was sent home, Justice had risen from roadside weeding to become a semi-skilled technician, a job that gave him pride, stability, and a new sense of who he was becoming.
I don't know have a journal me. Decided my naba. I don't know there. It was a kufum. Namus me a Juma for Friday. Aye.
It was the first time Justice earned enough to dream. His pay rose, and with it, the hope of a better life for his family.
I'm from many more jeep, Papa. See, you know about the year, Ubia Nemo J. Be a injured Papa there. Since Central Harmon. Be behind Harmon. Say, you're quite no, you may be behind Harmon. This is no Bahama, Obawikama, Obahama, yesterday. A man with my day, a tumpon.
But 2 years without parliamentary approval brought all the progress to a standstill.
ono don ona no mutume bi wo so na hwe mamba fama se juma na zia no aye basa ye prode wo basanya ama ma oman so ye de yetumi akoyim so da me na ombado so ombado na ma oma youth ni so ye de ye bre ankasa.
I'm Sarah Agri. I'm 20 years old and Mr. Justice Agri is my father. He told us that they said they should come home, they will go again. They will start the work around somewhere 2025, but still the work is not. So they are still at home.
Every day, Justice stays home, waiting for a call that never comes. Is another day her daughter's hope for college drifts further away.
I completed school around 2023. Then because of money, financial issues, I couldn't further my education. But he's willing to take me to school when the work that they've told them they will come and start when it comes. I'll be going back to school.
In Krampakrum, a trained technician of 8 years is back to the charcoal business he thought he had left behind.
There crying on my Mikata, you're Mikatamba. Says I make us a more flamenco, now Mrs. Shabby day. I tell you, my train you go and Mrs. Ansana, may be crowd to two books or some Mankara. Says Edmund, my young to our mean yes, you can two books Mankara do from school. Mean yes, you come for home. And to some young Casa, may bomb a bland or some moon how I miss I day. I shan't call Amadou Mabano.
From 167 workers down to 62, more than 100 jobs gone. Atlantic Lithium employed geologists, lab technicians, drivers, electricians and other support staff. But Parliament's delay in rectifying the mining lease forced operations to slag behind. Lands and Natural Resources Minister Emmanuel Amakofeboa has now laid a revised agreement before Parliament, 2 years after the project was first announced.
The new lease has been negotiated, sent to Cabinet for approval, and we are here in Parliament to get ratification in accordance with Article 268 of the 1992 Constitution.
If they defer it again.
The Ewoya Lithium project promised 800 direct jobs, at least 2,700 indirect jobs, and a new industrial path. Now, that future waits on parliamentary approval. 2 years have passed. The machines are quiet, the jobs are gone, and hope sits in limbo. For families like the Agris, ratification of the Ewoya Lithium project must not be politicized. It is their chance to live their dreams again. Ewoya's future, and the futures tied to it, now wait on a single choice. A choice that can restore dignity or confirm another broken promise. Emmanuel Jivenu, JoyNews, Ewoya, Central Region.
Now, Ghana's long-standing struggle to attract doctors, teachers, engineers, and other critical professionals to hard-to-reach districts is back in focus as ranking member on the Local Government and Decentralization Committee, Francis Asensobwachi, renews calls for a district housing scheme. The Bantama MP says the absence of decent accommodation remains one of the biggest barriers preventing young professionals from accepting postings to underserved communities. He's urging the government to revive and expand a previously designed district housing program to address what he describes as a major developmental bottleneck. We've been joined via Zoom by Francis Asensobwachi. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. First, before we get into that scheme which you worked on when you were in power, just a very casual question to you, though. Is it that there are genuinely no accommodations in the district level or the rural communities, or there is a certain type of housing or accommodation that our young professionals have appetite for?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to be on your program this afternoon. Well, there is a genuine type of certain model of housing at the various districts. But in general, accommodation issues are a big problem in underserved communities, as you mentioned. As you know, when you go around the country, even if you look at the housing statistics, a good number of the houses are in the big cities, Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, and what have you. In the underserved districts, housing is a problem, and decent housing accommodation is even a bigger problem.
Okay.
And you see, these professionals, their classmates get jobs in Accra, and they stay in very nice places, okay? So they also want to, if they should accept postings, if they should accept job opportunities in these underserved communities, at least, some decent accommodation, not as it is in Accra, but something pretty decent for a professional to stay in. And that has been the bane of our development efforts.
Okay.
As you know, in the various district assemblies, the Local Government Act stipulates that the district assemblies are the highest planning authority in every district. And as such, they have a very important role to play. When I was speaking yesterday at the Parliament post-budget workshop, it was clear that even doctors are not accepting posts in underserved communities. It was clear. The Minister for Local Government mentioned that they only have 10 planners at the district assemblies, 10 special planners. These special planners, they are supposed to ensure orderly development. They are supposed to coordinate the issuance of building permits. They coordinate the issuance of development permits. And this is supposed to ensure orderly development and avoid haphazard development. If you don't have all these professionals.
Yes. Take me into the scheme which you were working on before you left government. What form and shape was this scheme supposed to take? And in that scheme, what will a decent accommodation look like in that scheme?
It's a program, we call it district housing scheme. It was a program to provide some decent accommodation at the district level, the type of models that we have in Accra. In Accra, you know that government, under the Ministry of Works and Housing, government has some housing facilities that they provide to civil servants. They are not as posh as that of the private sector ones we have in
the private sector. Okay.
Yeah, but they are pretty decent that anybody at all will find it.
I want to have a picture of what a decent accommodation is for professionals. Would you have a standardized decency of how it should look?
A two-bedroom apartment with toilet facilities.
Okay.
Not any plush housing type.
Government has already presented its 2026 budget anyway. You have said that this should be pushed at the cabinet level. But do you think that the government should consider public-private partnership at all?
Of course. I mean, it doesn't really matter the financing. Government will have to decide whether they can use public money to finance it or whether they will need the support of the private sector. It doesn't matter. These are all financing options. But what is important is that there was an arrangement we were working with state housing to provide these housing schemes at the district level. And they are not supposed to be free anyway. They pay for it. Yeah,
you mentioned that you were working with state housing. At what level was this before you left government?
We were far advanced. We were far advanced, and state housing was supposed to be the developer. And government was supposed to provide some seed capital, especially with the provision of infrastructure for the housing development. I'm talking about the roads, we're talking about water, electricity, so that it will be easy for state housing to just come in and put in the building, so that we will have a very nice estate for senior public officials like doctors, architects, planners, engineers, who will go there and work and make sure that...
As ranking, how far are you hoping to go with this request or this policy?
When the point was made, the Minister of Health was there, the Minister for Local Government was there, and he quickly indicated that he has put it down and he will make sure that he takes it to cabinet.
Okay.
So I'm very hopeful that the government will embrace this idea so that it will help us address some of the many development challenges that we are facing at the district level.
Thank you so much, Mr. Francis Asenso-Boakye, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, in other news, the government has allocated 2.3 billion cedis to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, popularly known as Mahama Cares, to strengthen the national response to non-communicable diseases. The initiative was established to provide both financial and medical support to Ghanaians battling chronic conditions such as cancer, kidney failure, and heart diseases. Now, the fund aims to expand access to specialized care by covering treatments not provided under the National Health Insurance Scheme, while also investing in critical health infrastructure, medical equipment, and specialist training to address long-standing gaps in the country's healthcare system. Now, presenting the 2026 budget in Parliament, the Finance Minister, Kasiela Toforsin, said the new allocation is expected to significantly scale up the fund's operation and improve health outcomes for thousands of patients across the country. And joining us now via Zoom for more on this development is the Health Policy Advisor to the fund, Dr. Norbert Kipo. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, Doc. So, government says it's allocated 2.3 billion cedis to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. How significant is this injection, at least, for improving your operations?
Thank you so very much for having me. The Ghana Medical Trust Fund was established earlier this year with the sole purpose of mobilizing resources to support the specialized care of patients with chronic non-communicable diseases. And this is government's commitment to support patients who have to deal with the catastrophic cost that comes with non-communicable diseases. Research has shown that not only the individuals, but their entire families, about 75% of them are drawn below the lines of poverty within the first 5 years after a diagnosis.
Right.
And you can all attest to the high cost of this care. When you talk of the cancers, when you talk about kidney care, when you talk about dialysis, it involves so much. The costs are so much. The equipment to manage these diseases in terms of diagnostics and treatments is a lot. So having this injection shows that government is really committed to this cause. It's not just about establishing a fund, but then there is commitment in the form of financial resources to ensure that we are able to reach this mandate of supporting our patients financially. Our mandate goes beyond the financial protection we are giving patients. It delves into areas like equipping our hospitals, because to be able to offer specialized care, you have to make sure that your hospitals are at a level to provide it. Let me give an example of cancer. So when a patient up north is diagnosed with a cancer and has to undergo one of the treatment options, which is radiotherapy, we don't have any machine in the north. So they have to either come to Konfanoche or Kolebu. Now the pressure is too much that sometimes they have to be on a waiting list. Right. Sometimes as long as 3-4 months. Having to travel down south also increases the cost of care. So if you roll out a program where you are paying for the bills of patients and they go to the hospitals in the north and they can't access that, then it becomes a challenge. These are barriers that prevent patients from getting it. So once you have this huge injection of capital from government, we appreciate the commitment government is making, and this would go in helping patients access good quality healthcare. So
the Mahama Cares, as we know it, has actually been quite clear on the mandate and the object, and as well you have just been sharing it. But non-communicable disease is quite wide. You have just been telling me that you're going to be tackling both the front end and then the back end. But specifically for this funding that has been injected, where are you starting from? Is it to provide facilities for hospitals that do not have that facility, or just the funding part of it? And which one of the non-communicable diseases are you starting with?
Thank you so very much. So the mandates go hand in hand. Like I was trying to explain, while you are making it affordable, it's important that it's also accessible. Because if it's affordable and I can't access it, I don't appreciate the affordability of it. And if it's accessible and I can't afford it, then the treatment is there, but I can't enjoy it. So the two must go hand in hand. That is why the huge capital injection is very much appreciated. When you talk about non-communicable diseases, you are right to say that this includes a whole lot of conditions. We have to start from somewhere. Okay. And as a new fund, we don't want to bite more than we can chew. Okay. So we are having...
Proceed.
So we are having technical engagements with the National Health Insurance Authority, which has already been in existence and offers some protection and coverage for certain conditions. So we are in some technical discussions to determine where exactly they end and where we can come in, so that our interventions do not duplicate one another, but then complement to offer a comprehensive health package for all patients.
And that's a good point that you have raised, because the National Health Insurance is quite clear. You have the card, you show it, your service is provided, and it covers. For the Mahama Cares, if a person is diagnosed of a certain non-communicable diseases, where do they start from? Should they be registered? Should they just walk to the facility and enjoy it?
Right, so our bill states the eligibility criteria for patients. So first, you have to be Ghanaian. This is a policy for Ghanaians. Secondly, you have to be registered on the National Health Insurance Scheme. This is particularly important because patients have to go through the systems of healthcare. The Ghana Medical Trust Fund sits at the very top to deal with complex conditions and conditions that pose a huge financial burden to patients. And before a patient is diagnosed with that, most of the time they go through the system. So for example, patients with kidney disease, most of the time would have hypertension, most of the time would have diabetes, or some form of conditions that are a risk factor for developing the kidney disease.
Right.
So on the assumption that, say, Mahama Cares is dealing with chronic kidney disease, patients will have gone through the systems of managing their hypertension, managing their diabetes through the National Health Insurance. And once it gets to the level that goes beyond the coverage of the National Health Insurance, then you can be rolled on to the Mahama Cares. Also, for certain conditions, your doctors would have to make an application on your behalf, so that it is reviewed. So conditions like surgeries, one-time interventions, so that it is reviewed, then funding can be made available to the facility for the treatment. So it will come out in two forms, where patients are automatically onboarded based on the condition they have, and the instance where patients would have to apply to the fund, particularly if there isn't any designated benefits package for that specific condition. I don't know if what I'm saying is quite clear. There's clarity to that,
yes.
Yes. And based on our technical discussions, once we are done, we've given ourselves a maximum of 4 weeks. Once we are done and we have all the details, we have the benefits package, we have the costing, the tariffs, the service list, the medicines list, then we hope to onboard at the beginning of next year. The stakeholders will be communicated to, government would be, the people of Ghana will be communicated to. They understand the conditions that are covered. They have full clarity on the process of being onboarded on the Mahama Cares and would roll out in full swing. Like I said, we have to start from somewhere, considering the vast nature of conditions that fall under non-communicable disease. We have to start somewhere. The specific conditions will be listed, and as the years go by, we continue to review. We review, add more conditions, review the tariffs to make sure that they are realistic and actually meet the cost of care that service providers are offering to patients.
Thank you so much, Dr. Norbert Kipo, for joining us on the news today. Now, in other news, the Minister for Labour, Jobs and Employment, Dr. Abdul Rashid Hassan Pelpo, has urged employers across the country to prioritize the safety and well-being of their workers, stressing that no job should come at the cost of human life. He made the urgent call in Kumasi when he inaugurated a Health and Safety Enforcement and Compliance Special Task Force, a new unit mandated to intensify workplace inspections and ensure strict adherence to occupational safety regulations. There's more in this report.
The Special Task Force, inaugurated in the Ashanti region, will be made up of officers from the Labour Department who will carry out routine and special inspections, enforce compliance directives, and recommend sanctions where necessary. According to the Minister for Labour, Jobs and Employment, Dr. Rashid Pelpo, the initiative forms part of broader government efforts to promote decent work, safeguard livelihoods, and meet international labour standards.
Part of the reason why this agency is put in place and backed by the law is that we need to ensure that our workplaces are safe and that the health of workers are also taken into consideration. And so the law set it up to make sure the working conditions of people who are working across board, public sector, private sector, all of them are safe under a safe working condition, and that their health is particularly taken into consideration by the employer. And so there's a requirement for us to inspect to make sure we go according to the law, that every employer make sure your employers are safe and in accordance with the regulations and laws backing it.
He described the task force as a timely intervention aimed at reducing the rising number of workplace accidents, injuries and preventable deaths recorded in various sectors. The national chairman for the Health and Safety Enforcement and Compliance Special Task Force, Dr. Daniel Ayukwe, under the ministry, welcomed the move by emphasizing on the readiness of the task force through various trainings they have undergone.
They've gone through occupational health and safety training, workplace safety, construction safety, all sort of trainings that covers health and safety. So we give them enough training. They've gone through offshore safety training. You know, it's a bit dynamic. The trainings are a bit different, so I can't mention all, but they've gone through serious training before being inaugurated.
Dr. Pelpo noted that this task force is set up to ensure the safety, most especially health safety, of persons working across all sectors.
In the sheds under which they work, when it rains, some of them suffer some, they suffer under it, under the tragedy of the weather. Several other issues that have been brought up, and we think that if we didn't put in place this, those issues, as I've mentioned, several of them are being looked at. And now that we are just going into the project fully, we can find several other issues that need to be addressed.
The task force begins its operation immediately across the Ashanti region. For JoyNews, Nana Bochtanko Yadom. Komase.
Executive Director of Transparency International Ghana, Mary Awolana Ada, is calling on civil society groups and the media to strengthen their collaboration in the fight against corruption, particularly its gender dimensions. Speaking at a one-day workshop in Wa, Mary Ada said the organization is working towards a society where fairness and justice prevail, not merely equity. She urged stakeholders to join forces with Transparency International Ghana to advance this cause. And JoyNews Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
By Transparency International Ghana for civil society organizations and the media on anti-corruption and gender dimension of corruption was on the theme, strengthening the rule of law and the fight against corruption in Ghana. The program, which is being supported by GIZ, BMZ, and SECO, is aimed at building the capacities of civil society organizations and the media to enable them stand as a voice for the vulnerable, speak against and report issues of corruption. The project is being implemented in 60 districts in the country, with 4 of them in the Upper West region. Executive Director of Transparency International Ghana, Mary Awolana Ada, threw further light on the project.
And so it's a critical matter. If a woman who wants a job and is rightfully qualified for that job has to suffer to have sex with a gentleman to be able to do that, then it means it's a matter that we must all talk about. If a gentleman also suffers the same fate, we need to talk about it. So some of these examples make it imperative that this discussion must be had, because it's a silent killer. And because it's silent and it's affecting most of the cultural nuances around which we grow and we operationalize and socialize, it means if we do not talk about it, it will continue to be endemic and it will continue to fester. So that is why it's even more critical now than ever that we speak to this issue.
We better disclose that it is the hope to see a society where fairness and justice operates and not only equity.
In all, we want to ensure that everybody who suffers from corruption has the mandate or is empowered enough to be able to speak out.
Anger is sweeping through Anyaa Atlas Hills and neighboring communities as residents demand urgent government interventions to fix their deteriorating roads. The residents have issued a 3-week ultimatum to authorities, warning that failure to address the problem will trigger further action. They say years of appeals, petitions and complaints have yielded no results, insisting that successive governments have remained indifferent to their plight. According to the community, the poor road network has severely affected every aspect of their daily lives, from healthcare and education to security and transportation. Residents argue that the worsening condition of the roads has made movement difficult, damaged vehicles, increased transportation costs, and hindering access to essential services. Fatal Bayaga has more in this report.
Our area has been totally neglected. You see the place active only when it's time for elections.
This is more than a galamsey pit.
Residents of Anyaa Atlas Hills are up in arms over the deplorable state of all major roads in the community. The poor road network, they say, has made movement in and out of the area extremely difficult.
This is one of the linking roads at Atlas Hills. Currently, it's been taken over by weeds and huge gullies, thereby obstructing the smooth movement of people in and out of the community. This road mirrors the general road situation within the community. Residents say they are worried.
Our area has been totally neglected. Totally neglected. You see the place active only when it's time for elections. We don't benefit anything. We don't have water. We don't have roads. We don't have. If I say we can't describe this thing as road, because road is a place where people can use their vehicles through. But over here, we can't even use our vehicles through.
You can attest with me. This is more than a galamsey pit. Look at my height and look at the pit. What kind of a car or a vehicle can use this particular road? We are saying this is not the only road that is like this. Almost every road in this community is deprived. And we say we are in the center part of Accra, Gacentra.
Very well, because we will be struggling from way back, and I believe that neglect here is really, really terrible. Most of the times we, the association, we normally contribute something to at least let the graders come to grade it, but it's gotten to now a time that we cannot do that again, so we need government intervention.
Despite years of persistent complaints, successful governments have failed to address the problem. The frustrated residents insist they can no longer endure the worsening conditions and are demanding immediate intervention.
See how bad the roads have become. NPP and NDC government have done nothing for us. When you board a car, the driver do not want to even come to this side because of the poor roads. I don't want to hear anything about the NDC and NPP again. During my pregnancy, my water broke unexpectedly and I went into labor one dawn. So I needed to be rushed to the hospital as an emergency case. We couldn't get a vehicle. We spent several hours home. When we finally got a car, the driver had to go round and windy for several hours just to complete a short distance that would take just minutes. I nearly died. It took the grace of God to have my baby.
Even as you come here, you want to come by a public transport. Trust me, you fight with the driver on the way because you can't get to your destination. He will tell you to get down because he can't continue. What type of country are we? What type of community are we?
The prolonged neglect has triggered a chain of challenges for the community, from delayed emergency responses to skyrocketing transportation costs and damaged vehicles. Residents, including commercial drivers, say the situation is affecting them.
Our cars frequently break down because of the poor roads. It's really difficult for us.
As a taxi driver, I go to Abuse Okai for repairs every week due to the condition of the roads.
The continued silence from authorities has pushed residents to organize multiple press conferences and peaceful protests, but they claim the local authorities remain unmoved.
The residents say they are in Gacentra, in fact the middle part of Accra, but their roads are now turned into galamsey pits, which is a very worrying situation for them. And they say that the youth here are prepared to explode if authorities do not take the right measures in fixing these roads
in the next 3 weeks. For Joy News, Fatah Obayaga, Atlas, Accra.
President John Mahama is set to swear in Justice Paul Bafo-Boni as Chief Justice of Ghana today at 3 p.m. following Parliament's approval of his nomination. He has served as acting Chief Justice since April after the suspension and subsequent dismissal of the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. Appearing before Parliament's Appointments Committee on November 10, Justice Bafo-Boni committed to open-door bipartisan leadership, stressing his dedication to uphold judicial independence and enhancing access to justice across the country. Parliament confirmed his appointment on November 13 with 163 votes in favor and 69 against, clearing the way for today's swearing-in ceremony a little later at 3 p.m. You're watching News Today. Please stay this morning.
Welcome back to Business here on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Paki, and now to our first business story. Fuel prices are set to go up marginally at the pumps today. This is as a result of setbacks on the international market. My colleague George Wiafe has been through the industry numbers and report.
The expected hike in fuel prices at the pumps has been influenced by a sharp increase in prices of crude oil on the international market. This has gone a long way to influence prices of finished petroleum products that are imported into the country. The development could result in the price of petrol and LPG going up by more than 3% per litre and kilogram, whilst diesel could be increased by almost 4% per litre. However, prices could have gone up higher than what has been projected if it hadn't been the cedi's appreciation against the dollar over the past 2 weeks. However, some oil marketing companies have told Joy Business that they will not rush to increase prices from today, as they will still want to monitor market developments before responding.
Now, away from that, Ghana's weak agricultural systems and slow adoption of modern technology could threaten national food security if urgent steps are not taken. That's the warning from the founder of Legacy Crop Improvement Center, Amos Ruta Azinu. Speaking at the 10th anniversary, he emphasized that the food should be treated as a national security issue, not a political one. There is more in this report.
Data from the Ghana Statistical Service indicate that Ghana's food import bill in 2024 reached around 38.95 billion Ghana cedis, up by 12.2 billion Ghana cedis from 2023. Amos Ruta, founder of the Legacy Coral Preservation Center, says Ghana is yet to fully harness its natural resources for sustainable food production.
The smallholder farmers are using seed that are not highly climate resilient variety. So that is what we need to focus, and we as a company in the last 10 years, our focus will be how to advance the climate resilient variety to smallholder farmers in order to produce food that feed all of us. We have not really adopted technology in terms of our agricultural practices, but the time is now catching up with us. I'm not sure the world is waiting for us. The better we adopt it, those technologies in our agriculture. And we cannot build a machine on a weak foundation, because our agricultural sector have been very weak. So the foundation that we have is very weak. So sometimes adopting new technologies that become very challenging to us. But the point is that whether we adopt it or we die with it.
He further dismissed reports of widespread post-harvest losses, describing them as politically driven and based on unreliable data. He said rather than politicizing agriculture, the focus should be on building credible value chains that clearly separate the roles of farmers, marketers, and distributors.
That's all for business here on JoyNews Today. Up next is sports and entertainment. Stay tuned after this break.
We bring you sports now on JoyNews Today with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Ghana midfielder Abu Francis has undergone surgery following an injury he suffered during Ghana's final match against Japan on Friday. The Ghana Football Association in a statement indicates that the player's surgery was successful. His club has also released a statement indicating that he's going to be out for several months. Initially, they had indicated that he was going to be out of the FIFA World Cup, which will be happening in the USA, Mexico, and Canada. However, they have edited that statement, just indicating that he's going to be out for several months. It is unclear when Abu Francis will be making a return to the pitch, but doctors say he could be up to 6 to 8 months. What it means is that his likely return to football action will be somewhere July, August next year. We also understand that a medical team member of the Ghana Football Association is currently with him in the hospital in Japan, where he underwent the surgery. He's expected to spend 3 days in that hospital before he's flown to France, where he is based. Ghana legend Abedi Pele has donated one of his trophies won during his illustrious career to the Milo Under-13 Championship Organizing Committee. According to him, that is his contribution to unearthing the next generation of talents who will be flying high the flag of the country. My colleague Abdul Karim Benin was there at this ceremony and has more in this report.
The launch featured the unveiling of a new logo and a trophy donated by football legend Abedi Pele from his illustrious collection.
Hello. For the young ones, for the future of Ghana football, I have no problem at all. I will give them one of my most cherished trophies. I'm hoping these young champions will do more amazing things than I ever did. Champions start at the Milo Champions League. They deserve to be inspired. Yes, this is perfect for them. The future champions of Ghana are waiting.
The trophy was revealed by his son Andre Ayew, Ghana's most capped player, who joins the program as an ambassador.
Ayew Pele comes the trophy, and the trophy will be handed over to the managing director of Nestle.
In his remarks, Ayew said he looks forward to helping unearth national stars.
In front of fans is going to be enjoyable. Inshallah, hopefully we're going to get a few professional players out of it one day, but if not, it stays something incredible. It stays an experience, it's memories, it's something that makes you disciplined, teamwork, and it will help them in their future, in their life. So it's not just about football, but it's also about human life. But I'm very happy and proud because we have come, we are doing, we have done, we are doing. Others also will come and do, so we need to open the door for them, guide them, and that's why I'm here today.
In her address, Managing Director of Nestle Ghana, Salome Azevedo, encouraged young talents to seize the opportunity but not neglect their education.
Football is a universal language that brings people together. It has the incredible ability to reveal the inner qualities of players and nurture their talents, helping them grow into professionals.
We've got more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. Up next is Showbiz.
And it's time now for Showbiz. I am Loy Shalademi, bringing you all the news happening in and around the world of entertainment. Now let's get into our stories. Tidal Rave 2025 brought explosive energy to the La Palm Beach over the weekend, delivering a star-studded beach concert that thrilled thousands. The yearly November to December events featured powerful performances from some of Ghana's and Africa's biggest acts, with a surprise wildcard appearance from Shatta Wale that sent the entire beach into a frenzy. From music to crowd energy, this year's edition proved once again why Tidal Rave remains the country's ultimate beach concert.
Tidal Rave 2025, listen, it's already looking good. It's star-studded. We have our musicians in here who are giving us amazing music and sounds. We've already seen Blacko do his thing. Kwesia Meuga has also come to do his thing. And right on the stage, we have our own girl, Molly, shaking it to the max with her sister, Melissa. Listen, this year promises to be so much fun. The fun has already begun.
The atmosphere was electric from the start. Fans cheered, danced, and sang along as Ghana's top artists took the stage. Fans were treated to remarkable performances from Black Sheriff, Molly, Olive the Boy, Jackie, Dako Vibes, Kweku Smoke, Lalid, Ghana Boy, and Aya Star. But the biggest shock came when Shatta Wale made a wild card appearance, sending the crowd into a frenzy. All the artists said the show was amazing. They praised the crowd and said they had rehearsed hard to make the night unforgettable.
We worked so hard for this performance, and I'm glad that everything came out just as we wanted. Big shouts to Tidal Rave, big shouts to my team, and big shouts to the fans that came out to watch this amazing experience.
Where have you been?
I've been outside, I've been spreading the gospel of Shake It to the Max. But you know, it only makes sense as the year is coming to a close to come home and spread the love.
The ravers also shared the excitement. Many called it the perfect start to December.
This has been a Tidal Rave that I've never seen before because Shatta Wale has never come on Tidal Rave before.
Whose performance have you enjoyed the most? Shatta Wale. Who are you looking forward to see this evening?
Ira Star.
Ira Star.
I wasn't expecting it. This is my first time here. I've been hearing so much about it, so I decided to come and then have some fun.
Next year, are you coming back again?
Sure.
Tidal Rave 2025 once again proved why it remains Ghana's ultimate beach concert, setting the stage for a
Well, moving away from that, Black Sheriff is offering fans a deeper look into the mind behind his new album, Iron Boy, as he opens up about the emotional and mental journey that shaped the 15-track project. In a candid sit-down conversation with me, the award-winning artist revealed how moments of vulnerability, the pressure of the public scrutiny, and his own battle of self-belief pushed him to create music that reflects both his scars and his strength.
Emotional journey, spiritual journey, physical journey that came together to make Iron Boy. You see, iron is made up of stuff. Do you understand how tough it is and everything? And I am the Iron Boy as well. Yeah, and it's a homage to Nana Mashidede, the real Iron Boy.
According to the Kweku the Traveler hitmaker, what broke him wasn't just experiences, but the weight of people's words and society's expectations.
Sometimes it's even the words we tell ourselves, you know, how harsh we are on ourselves because we try to meet the standards that society has made. Sometimes it's not even the society, but how we react to society. Do you understand me? By keeping things calm, I think we can have some, not even all, but some things under control if we take things calm.
Well, and that's how we end the story. We'll bring you more of this later on. But for more entertainment stories, please do log on to myjoyonline.com. MFR,
yes.
Do you like Iron Boy?
Of course, if it's Amachidede. Of course, I do love him. Totally. But, well, that's how we wrap up the bulletin as well. I am MFR Akosia Adeti. For more news, you log on to myjoyonline.com. Please stay for Market, please.